This is Stanley Coles, the Secretary for the War Resisters League on the West Coast. We've discussed the war in Vietnam at great length on this program on dozens of occasions. And now Stanley Coles is here tonight because our staff read a statement he made that the staff found, to say the least, controversial. Let me read it to you. Quote, "A Viet Cong victory is preferable to continued war," unquote. That's an accurate statement by you.
That's correct.
Would you explain it?
Certainly. At this point, the United States finds itself deeply embroiled in a war which really it didn't want, which really it has no business in. It's a war that began essentially as a civil war between Vietnamese, between having its roots in the struggle of the Vietnamese people to throw out the French. And once again, as in so many instances, the United States simply picked a side which they thought was a convenient side, and it turned out to be the unpopular side. This is something that, unfortunately, the United States does quite often. The Vietnamese people were embroiled in a civil war. It was a war between people in a primitive nation, in a backward nation. It was a war between people using bows and arrows and whatever pieces of equipment they could get together. It was a war without air forces or navies. It was a war without bombers, without heavy artillery. And now the United States has entered into this war, and the nature of the war has changed. There have been approximately 500,000, 1 million Vietnamese deaths. The ranges vary, the estimates vary, but it's generally agreed that the civilian number of the people killed are anywhere from 60% to 90%. 60% to 90% of the Vietnamese killed in Vietnam are civilians.
Isn't it a fact that the Viet Cong has masqueraded as civil types on every possible occasion? They have blended in with villages. Isn't it true that we've had to go into these villages and clean them out? And many times civilian lives are taken, as they are in any war, because these men are using them as human shields. Now, I want to ask you one question at this point. If a civilian, if you were, say, in the service someplace, and a civilian was being used as a shield as a man was firing at you, and he was getting closer, his range was getting better all the time, what would you do, sir?
Well, let me only say this. Bernard Fall, who is a professor at Brown University, who is an acknowledged expert on Southeast Asia.
Does he speak for you?
Wait a minute. Could I finish the statement, please?
Well, I asked you a question about you personally, you see. I want to know from you whether it is possible that you could consider for a moment.
I can't tell you what I'm going to do in a hypothetical situation any more than you can really tell me what you're going to do in a hypothetical situation.
But I could tell you what I would do in a situation
Perhaps
like
you
that.
could. Perhaps you could.
I would then decide that I wanted to live. I would be sorry that possibly that civilian would be killed, but I think any human being, given that set of circumstances, and assuming he's not a saint about to be absorbed bodily into heaven, would return the fire.
What if it were a woman carrying a child?
What if it were?
Would you fire then also?
Would you rather be dead?
Rather than commit the crime of being in a nation that I have no business in, fighting a war that I have no business fighting. Let me point out to you that this is not the situation, though.
You ever had anybody shoot at you?
The situation is, pardon me.
Have you ever had anybody shoot at you, sir?
No, but the situation
is
one
how do you know what you do?
Of American planes passing over villages in both North and South Vietnam and bombing these villages. It's not the Viet Cong hiding behind civilians and shooting at them.
Now, let's take that point. Well, but before you get to number two, let's stay on number one here for a moment. Have you heard of any time when the Viet Cong was about to go in and annihilate an area where they've warned people in advance to leave, all non-combatants leave the area? Are you aware of the fact that we have warned non-combatants that we were about to drop napalm? It was necessary to defoliate a certain section. Are you aware that many times we wipe out our own people because it's almost impossible under certain conditions to determine your friends from your enemies?
I have taken rather extensive...
So therefore, why do you give people the impression that the United States is the kind of a country that wantonly charges in and wipes out helpless non-combatant lives when you know that's not the case?
I have received ROTC training, and I was told in
ROTC training?
Pardon me, can I finish what I'd like to say?
Yes, I'm just taken aback.
I have been told in ROTC training that if I am fighting in a village there is nothing wrong with my using the inhabitants of that village as human shields. I'm not trying to defend here what the Viet Cong does. What the United States is doing in Vietnam is exactly equivalent to what the Viet Cong is doing in Vietnam.
Now you begin to understand war. You begin to understand that the main thing in war is to survive and kill as many of the enemy as possible. This is the main theme of war. It's not a nice thing, but that is the fact of life.
What if in fighting a war you forget about what you're fighting for? We began this war fighting for freedom. We began this war fighting for self-determination for the Vietnamese. What has happened now is that we have stopped fighting for self-determination for the Vietnamese. We have fought to keep a man in power, Mr. Diem, who was terribly unpopular. Then we fought to keep another man in power, Mr. Khan.
No,
and
wait a minute.
all the
Wait a
way
minute.
down the line,
Don't go away from Mr.
16
Diem for a minute.
dictators.
Don't go away from Mr. Diem for a minute. I wish to God that he were still around. But in the meantime, I think it's rather important for you to say that we abandoned Diem and allowed him to be killed. We could have saved Diem.
Because we realized one thing that we should have realized when we supported him, when we pulled him out of Cambridge, Massachusetts, and trained him to go into Vietnam as our boy in Vietnam. We should have realized that he was unpopular, that a man who left Vietnam when Vietnam was fighting her battle against the French, a man who was a Catholic in a country where Catholicism is associated with the French, who are the enemy, this man would not be popular in Vietnam.
And yet everybody speaks
popular.
French. Everybody speaks French in Vietnam.
Certainly everybody spoke French in Vietnam.
How come if it's so unpopular they speak
just
French?
Just like everybody in a number of African countries speaks English, everybody in India certainly speaks English. Most of the educated people. And you can't tell me that the British are popular in India.
Stanley Coles, if Mr. Diem was so unpopular, why did 1 million people, when given the opportunity, come down from the north to live under his domain?
Because Mr. Diem was a Catholic, and these people who came down were generally Catholics, and they were generally people who'd been sympathetic to the French, as Mr. Diem had been sympathetic to the French.
Now wait a minute, hold on a moment.
People also
why
went to the north.
600,000. But that's a drop in the bucket. When
Compared
you consider,
with 1 million?
No, when you consider all of the non-Catholics who remained. How about all these Buddhist temples? How about all these people who remained there?
In North Vietnam, you mean?
No, in South Vietnam.
Yes, certainly.
Who didn't leave when they had the opportunity.
How about all the people in North Vietnam who
Why
didn't
didn't
leave?
they leave, though? Why didn't they leave if they felt that this
Because
man
they had their
was
homes.
a Catholic and therefore an oppressor, which you seem to find synonymous?
Because they had... No, it's not that I find it synonymous. It's that it was necessary for him. And I wish to make this very, very clear. There's no relationship between the fact that he's Catholic and the fact that he was an oppressor. A Buddhist in a Catholic country, in order to maintain power, would probably have to be an oppressor also. The fact is that he was in a minority, and he was an unpopular person because he did not share the religious beliefs of the population and because he had sympathized with the French to an extent.
The fact is that while Diem was in power, there were no Saigon hotels being blown up. Children could go into a motion picture theater without worrying about a bomb under their seat. The fact is that while he was there, he was a bulwark against communism, which you seem to go along with.
He was also a bulwark against democracy. He was also a bulwark against freedom. He abolished the only type of democracy you ever had in Vietnam.
And the communists are in favor of freedom, I take it.
I'm not saying that.
What are you
saying?
Say
Vietnam.
it after the commercial. All right, we'll be right back with Stanley. You belong to the War Resisters League. It's part of the War Resisters International, is it not?
It is.
The same War Resisters League that urged U.S. soldiers in Europe to desert, to mutiny in barracks.
Not mutiny.
What do you call it?
Stage demonstrations against the war in their barracks, to protest the war in their barracks in every way they could because they are draftees and because
mutiny.
they are slaves
That's
that
mutiny.
have been drafted into an army to fight in a war that we have no business fighting. Many of these young men either don't know about Vietnam or they are opposed to the war in Vietnam, but the majority of them have been drafted. If you want people to fight in Vietnam, why don't you ask people who are for the war in Vietnam to fight in the war in Vietnam? Why do you have to take people off the streets who don't care about the war in Vietnam?
Since when do we have wars and no draft? We had a draft in Korea, we had a draft in World War II, we had a draft in World War I.
I think an abolition of the draft would certainly show whether a war was truly popular or not.
Why is that?
If
Because
you
the draft
can't-
board is breathing down your neck?
No, certainly not.
How
If
old
you
are
want
you?
to drum up, if you want
How
to...
old are you, sir?
23.
And you've been a protester since the age of 14, I'm told.
Correct.
Now, you say you're not eligible for the draft?
I didn't say I wasn't eligible for the
Well,
draft.
what is your status?
I am trying to get from my draft board a conscientious objector status. In the event that I don't get a conscientious objector status, I will refuse to serve in the Army, as I counsel every young man who is opposed to this war in Vietnam not to serve in the United States Army.
You mean you'll go to jail?
Right.
You think you'll be of more help to your country rotting in some stinking jail than you will be in the armed forces?
General Hershey has stated that in the event that he were asked to do something against his conscience, he would rather go to jail. And I have the greatest admiration for young German men who were drafted into Hitler's army who did refuse to go and so met with death for that reason. You know why the United States does not make service in Vietnam voluntary? Because they wouldn't get very many people to go there.
The United States has never in any war made service voluntary.
Service was voluntary up to the Civil War.
Well, I'm talking about wars that we can recall in contemporary history when we faced contemporary problems. Have you considered volunteering to be a medic, not to carry a gun, but to help save lives?
I have volunteered to serve in Vietnam as part of a Vietnamese relief ambulance unit, which would serve both civilians, Viet Cong, and American soldiers.
Oh, you're willing to serve the enemy.
I am willing to, as a
but
medic, I would
you're
cure
unwilling
any
to go
person.
and help a dying American boy.
I'm not unwilling to help a dying American boy, but I am unwilling to help exclusively a dying American boy.
You're a little mixed up on your sides, aren't you?
I don't think so.
But that
This
button,
war is
that
not
button
an
that you're
American
wearing,
war.
sir, that button on your shirt. Do you want to tell us about that?
The button, which is the ND pin, began originally as a nuclear disarmament pin. It has now progressed to the point of being more or less of an international peace button. It is carried in most nations where there is any sort of peace movement at all.
The man most obviously identified with that button is Bertrand Russell, isn't he?
Bertrand Russell was at one time very much identified with the button. Bertrand Russell has ceased to be the worldwide spokesman for the peace movement.
I mean, you too finally found out that he was a senile old commie lover, huh?
Bertrand Russell suggested preventive war with the Soviet Union in 1949. Does that sound like a commie
Russell
lover?
said this, sir, when he taught before he was kicked out of a U.S. university. It is not proper for children to have respect for their parents.
I don't agree with that at all.
I can give you the quote.
I agree that Bertrand Russell said that, and I don't agree with that particular quote.
He was thrown out of universities for low morals, wasn't he?
He was thrown out because he advocated that
Free
young
love,
people.
right?
He advocated that young people live together before they are married, which
He's been a nut all
thousands,
his life, hasn't he?
Probably has. Probably has. Abraham Lincoln was probably a nut all his life too, and so was Thomas Jefferson, and so was Thomas Paine, and these men were nuts all their life. Thomas Paine was the son of a corset maker, and people laughed at him and his ideas until the American Revolution came by. And you can call people nuts, and you can call people communists, but that's not facing the issue.
We'll be right back. State your name, sir.
Bob Carreras. Joe, this guy you got in this chair next to you, he's a belligerent young man, and the war in Vietnam, what's right and what's wrong? What are we to say what's what's right and what's wrong? But when the United States says to you, come, help us, this is your democracy, this is your land. I mean, how can you sit there and say, man, I don't want to work. I mean, I don't want to go there. I don't want to do anything.
I didn't say I didn't want to go there. I did say
You're
I did
a conscientious
volunteer.
objective.
I did say I did volunteer for a Vietnamese ambulance unit with the American Friends Service Committee, a Quaker organization. I'm willing to go to Vietnam. I'm not willing to kill Vietnamese citizens. You say that our country has said to
You
us...
want to get them well so they can kill our citizens, right?
I've got a way where they don't have to kill our citizens. I mean, we can just withdraw the troops from Vietnam and they won't be killing American boys
We can
over there.
surrender all over the world, Mr. Coles.
It's not a matter of surrender. It's a matter of admitting that you've made a mistake. And we have made a
I
mistake
guess all
in
those
Vietnam.
people that got bricked up over there in Berlin made a mistake too, didn't they?
At what point are you going to say to your country, here you're toying with my life and you're toying with the lives of hundreds of thousands of other people, and if this escalates into a nuclear war, you're toying with humanity. You're toying with the entire world. At what point do you say to your government what you believe makes a mistake? At what point do you say to your government, I can't go along with this mistake. I can't go along with this mistake. It's wrong. What we're doing in Vietnam is insane. It's self-defeating. We're making communists of the people in Vietnam.
Don't make speech. The main trouble with our draft system is that we're drafting people we can't spare. You we can spare. You we ought to send. Will you state your name, please?
I'm Patricia
Behind the microphone, please.
Pat Robertson. And, you know, after hearing so many of my famous predecessors called nuts, you'll probably think I'm an idiot. But I think you're a coward.
Well,
There was never a war won by appeasement. You're just too chicken to go over and fight. So why don't you just
am I too
admit
chicken
it?
to go over to be an ambulance driver under fire? I'm willing to do this.
Why don't you
I'm willing-
sign up for it and go then?
Well, as a matter of fact, this is in the process now. This is being worked out through the Canadian Friends Service Committee and the American Friends Service Committee. But, you know, it's very difficult to go to Vietnam. It really is, unless you happen to be in the Army. And I'm not willing to go into the United States Army because the United States Army is engaged in a crime, as the German Army was engaged in a crime during World War II.
We're the same as
Yeah.
the Nazis, right?
I didn't say that, did
Oh,
I?
surely
You
we're
equated,
engaged
that's the
with
second time you've
I
equated the American
said-
Army with Nazis.
The Nazis committed war crimes. I'm saying that the United States has also committed war crimes by the Nuremberg trials, by the same definitions that they have set up. War against civilian population is a war
We
crime.
are engaged in a crime of trying to defend our country,
Are
right?
the Vietnamese pouring over our borders? Do you really think that North Vietnam is going to invade the United States? We're making communists out of those people. An American plane passes over a village and unloads its napalm on those villagers, and what do you think those villagers are going to think? Do you think they're going to love Uncle Sam?
Mr. Coles,
do you
you
think
know
they're
that there
going to
was a
like
man who
us?
was
War is a
apprehended carrying a
dreadful
live
thing.
bomb into Saigon the other day, and he said that he was a Viet Cong, he admitted it, and he said, if you can get my family released from the communists, I'll carry the same bomb back and blow up Hanoi.
Sure. Well, I'm sure
So
there
don't
are
say
people.
that these people are in love with the communists.
Isn't
That's
it
not
funny?
true.
But isn't it funny when we use terrorism against the civilian populations, it's not quite as successful. Something like 40% of the South Vietnamese army is deserting every year. Now, these people aren't terribly anxious to fight.
Where do you get
Why?
that? Where do you get that figure?
This is from the Los Angeles Times, which
Oh, the
says
Los Angeles
37%.
Times,
The Manchester Guardian,
Let
which
me
says
tell you
40%.
something. You know that 90% of the South Vietnamese Army regulars are volunteers?
What would you have us do?
At this point,
Give them Vietnam, then give them Thailand. I mean,
give
the whole
Vietnam
works.
to the Vietnamese. Give Vietnam to the Vietnamese. If they have a war to fight, there aren't any
That's what
Chinese
we're
troops
fighting
in
for.
Vietnam. There aren't any Chinese troops in Vietnam. There aren't any Russian troops in Vietnam.
Lady.
There are American troops
You know
in
what he
Vietnam.
wants? You know what he wants?
What's
Give
that?
it to the VC, and they come in and execute all the South Vietnamese who won't play ball. Now, there's one
Sure.
thing you
DM
better
did pretty
go
good job
back
of
in
that.
history, and you better face one thing. America has never conquered a nation that it didn't turn around and hand its sovereignty back to that same nation. One of the greatest peacetime administrations on record is the
Yes.
MacArthur administration of
Right.
Japan. One of the great examples is the Philippine freedom. And I just came back from there in case you want to talk about that. And they have their freedom there.
And it's a shame we've
now
lost
wait a
that
minute.
tradition.
Now wait a minute.
It's a
now when
shame
you look
we've
at
not
the
done
you don't
that
want to hear
now.
this, do you? You don't want to hear this. You can't face the truth. Wherever the communists have taken over, they've locked the people up. They call it an iron curtain, a bamboo curtain, or whatever the dickens you want to call it. They build walls around people. They put chains on people. They take away their religion. They take away their luxuries. They take away their land. You can look at
So
you can
does
look at
General
Cuba. You can look
Xi,
at
And so did Diem when we supported him, and so did Chiang Kai-shek when we supported him.
what did America
and so did
ever do?
Batista
I'm
when
talking
we
about
supported
America
him.
versus communism.
You're talking
You're naming
about
you're naming a lot of people that aren't even Americans.
You're talking about a country and you're talking about an
We'll
ideology.
be back after these words. Stand by. Your name, sir?
Roland Ari. Mr. Coles, I think I've heard this evening one of the most articulate rationalizations for cowardice I've ever heard. I believe we heard earlier, wasn't it 14 years old when you started this campaign
At the
that
age
you're
of
on
14, I engaged in civil rights demonstrations. I wrote letters to newspapers defending the right of Negroes to go to school. This was before the Supreme Court decision which allowed them to go to school. I campaigned for nuclear disarmament. I campaigned for the election of Kennedy, and I am sorry to say I campaigned for the election of Johnson over Goldwater.
What a
Almost
slip that
agreed.
was.
Yeah, right. I mean, these are the kinds of activities I've engaged in since I was 14. Oh, I don't know why that's relevant.
Well, it just seemed to me that it had been quite a long period of time for somebody to be taking up a cause of the Viet Cong.
Well, of course, you know, the Viet Cong was created when the Viet Minh, which fought against the French, failed, when the opposition to Diem, who is such a great guy, you know, he was such a wonderful guy because nobody got bombed when he was in power, unless you happen to oppose him. This guy Diem squelched all opposition. The opposition formed itself into an organization called the National Liberation Front. There's really no such thing as a Viet Cong. That's a term.
That's a
Wait
dirty
a
word.
second.
I see.
That
I'm
is-
terribly sorry. I've
no
brought the whole thing up. I didn't want the history, really.
what
Well,
I'm more
that's not
interested
true.
in why you
Wait,
feel
he just
that.
told a lie, and we better get straightened
No,
out
wait a
right now. I have in my
There is-
possession a stamp from the North Vietnamese government, a
Right.
stamp. And you know what it says on it? Viet Cong.
Really?
Yes, really.
I would like to see such a stamp.
All right.
I really would.
All right.
There is an organization
I showed it to another Red sympathizer one
called
time.
the...
He
I
didn't believe it
object to
either.
that.
You know, all Viet Cong means is Viet Commie.
Right.
That's all it means.
But the point is it means commie, and you don't hear communists refer to themselves as commies. They're always progressives.
How do
or
you
something
refer
like
to
that.
yourself?
Yeah, what are you?
I'm a human being, you know? That's,
Wonderful, wonderful.
you know...
Want to bet?
What I was trying
How
to...
did you get to be a human being with all this war going on that's so bad? How did we get the Bill of
Same
Rights?
way that you
That
became a
is,
human being.
this thing that you keep referring to, the Bill of Rights. Where did we get it?
Where did we get the Bill of Rights?
Yeah.
The Bill of Rights was written in response to the injustices performed upon the American people by the British. That's the way that we got
Right.
the Bill of Rights.
And
We
what did
got the
that
Bill of
result in?
Rights. We got the Bill of Rights by making ourselves a pest to Great Britain so that she found it too expensive to fight a
what was
war
the
against
result
us
of that?
anymore.
We got in a war, right?
Well, there was a
And
war.
you
There was
then
also
would
great...
have been saying that was a bad war because we were subjects of the king, because
I
you're
was-
afraid to fight.
No, I'm not afraid. You know, there's a difference between not wanting to fight and not wanting to kill somebody. And I just
Yeah, it's
don't
a
want
matter
to
of
kill somebody.
rationalization.
And if that's cowardice, then I'm a coward. I don't want to kill somebody without a cause. And I don't think Vietnam is a cause to kill somebody for. And
Well,
I don't think
would,
it's a
as I
cause...
say, if it was the Revolutionary War, there wouldn't be a cause for you to go to war.
Well, I'm not living 200 years ago, and neither are you, and I don't know what side you'd be on. I do know that there were about one-third of the people in this country who sympathized with the British. There were about one-third of the people
wound
who
up in
just didn't
Canada.
care. There were a third of the people
Yeah.
that just didn't care, and there were a third of the people that wanted to break away from Great
the
Britain.
this
point
is
was
the
there
reason.
were enough people who cared, who weren't like you.
What
to
did they
the
do?
Job, you see. That's the important
You
thing.
know,
Created
Enough
an
people
atmosphere.
have
They-
always cared in this country to save it from going down the tube.
The American...
And we have always survived the Stanley
And
Coles
what
of
happens?
our time.
And what happens in the event that we have a nuclear war? Will that help too? To have brave Marines, wonderful Marines
if we
in
have it, I
Vietnam?
hope you're right
is
on ground
that,
zero.
Is that what it's
Right
going
there.
to be? Is it going to
Because
help
I
us?
want to see you when that thing comes down there saying, I'm an objector, you can't touch me. Huh?
You know, if we started working now, maybe that would never happen. If we started working for peace now,
The only
and
way
to
to
start...
keep it from happening is to maintain a strong America.
you're really scaring the North Vietnamese, aren't we?
Well, I'll tell you one
We're
thing.
really scaring
If America
them.
hadn't been this strong all this time and hadn't been able to create an atomic standoff, we probably would be in the throes of communism at this moment.
If America had not used the nuclear bomb on Hiroshima and
Greatest thing that
Nagasaki,
ever happened. Greatest thing that ever happened.
Eisenhower says
It
it
ended the
wasn't.
war.
Truman says it wasn't.
Eisenhower.
As a matter of fact, the Japanese were suing for peace at the time the atom bomb was used.
Yeah,
And
they
this
were
was-
suing for peace. Well, I was down there in Okinawa, pal, when those peace suers were diving on me with kamikazes.
And as a matter
Don't
of
tell me
fact-
what they were suing about.
After Hitler bombed Great Britain, he said to the British, let's sit down at the negotiating table. And Churchill's answer is memorial. He said, go to hell. And
At that point, that's
at
what he
that
should have
point,
said.
At that point, this is what can you see now how the Viet Cong view us?
But there was a man before Churchill who was much more like you.
No, he
His
wasn't.
name was Chamberlain.
He was giving away other people's territory.
He was saying, Mr. Hitler just takes this, he'll be satisfied.
No.
He won't want any more.
He was giving away other people's territory as a bulwark against Hitler, and
Let's
that's
go to the
not
doctor.
Harry Ovett, and I just have a statement to make directed at you, sir. I am now in service to my country. I am very proud to say that I am in service to my country.
Good.
And the statement I want to make is that I believe in everything my country stands for. I will die for my country, but you, sir, I will never defend you because you are a demise to our system.
All right. May I say that I am not, sir, I am not asking for you to defend me. I don't want your defense if it involves killing Vietnamese civilians.
Damn good thing you don't want it, because it's obvious you're not going to get it. Would you state your name, sir?
My name is Miklos Petrovic. I'm from Hungary.
Oh, all right, sir. We're going to talk with you right after these words. Please stand by. We'll be right back.
I've been here in this country 10
We'll
years.
be right back, sir.
And I'm...
You stated your name and the fact that you do come from Hungary.
Yes, sir. Well, as I like to say to the gentleman, I've been here 10 years in this country, and I'll be proud to go to serve the United States Army anytime. And since he doesn't believe in the United States Army and the rules, I would advise him that he should take a suitcase and go to Hungary or North Vietnam or Russia and stay there for a few years and see what he's going to say.
I'd like your opinion of an article that appeared in Post magazine that stated to the effect that, first of all, a number of Hungarians were going back to Hungary and that the life in Hungary was so vastly improved. Now, this is Post magazine. I don't know whether it's true or not. That a number of Hungarians were going back to Hungary because the life there was so superior to the way it was 10 years ago. There was a great deal more luxury. There was a great deal more freedom. Now, I don't know whether this is true or not, and Post magazine did,
Well, this is the reason that I'm saying that you should take a suitcase and go there and find out for yourself and then speak.
Unfortunately, I don't have the money to do that, and I'd very much like
Would you
to.
believe a one-way ticket?
Will you?
Huh?
Because I believe...
You would accept a one-way ticket if we could raise the funds?
Yeah, but I'd certainly like a way to get back.
Well, we would... You know, I believe we're on the trail of something.
You know,
here.
I'd like to state
Wait a
something,
minute.
and that is
If I
that
could raise the money for a one-way ticket for you to get behind the Iron Curtain, would you promise to stay there for 2 years?
Certainly not. Oh, for 2 years?
Yes.
You know, under the proper conditions for studying or something like this, I mean, there are a number of people that do this. I'm an American. I mean, this is my home.
You're not an American.
Well...
You're a trader, man.
Now, let me, you know, if you think that a person who's not willing to serve in the United States Army is a traitor, I mean, if that's your definition of a traitor, then all you've got to say is that maybe 3 or 4 million students in this country that have student deferments are traitors. You're going to say that Senator Wayne Morse is a traitor?
Wait a minute.
Are
A
you going to say that
deferment
Mark
doesn't mean that the
Hatfield is a
man will
traitor?
eventually go. You know that.
But you know that they're trying to keep out, and you know that as well as I do. That's why
The
they
United
get those
States has
deferments.
always given legitimate deferments because they feel that people with educations are worth more in the long run when they do go in, and they will ultimately go in.
I have
if
asked my
they're
draft
needed.
board a number of times, I would suggest this to young men also, I have asked them to do away with my student deferment. I didn't want a student deferment. I wanted a conscientious objector classification or no classification. Just being a student does not put me in a position to send other people to Vietnam. I am an American and I'm proud of it. And just because
I don't
think,
buy that. I don't.
Just
that
because
is a fact.
I think
That is not in evidence.
That's because I think that my country is making a mistake in Vietnam, and I won't help it make a mistake in Vietnam does not
we've
mean
heard
I'm
all
a
that.
traitor.
Thank you all for being here tonight. That kicks things in the head. Good night, and straight ahead. This is the Reverend E. Freeman Yearling, a speaker for the John Birch Society-sponsored TACT, T-A-C-T, who says he is determined to expose those self-appointed leaders of the American Negro. With him, Mr. L.C. Wheeler, the director of a group known as the Black Cat's Bone. These two gentlemen agree on very little, as I understand it. For example, let's get down to this business of your exposing self-appointed leaders. Mr. Yearling, how successful have you been?
Well, I've been very successful to this point. Of course, there is a lot of ground to be covered as yet.
What self-appointed leader have you exposed?
Well, my aim, of course, is to inform the general public that individuals such as the Stokely Carmichael, H. Ralph Brown, and others do not speak for the vast majority of the American Negroes.
Is there a man, in your opinion, who does?
Yes, there is. As a matter of fact, the Dr. J.H. Jackson, head of the National Baptist Convention, the largest Negro organization in this country, which is 6,300,000 strong.
I'm sorry to say I have not heard of Dr. Jackson.
Yes, well, he's the head of the largest Negro organization in this country. It's more than 6 times the size of all of these so-called civil rights group combined.
You're
It's
talking about being the head of a
6,300,000.
church. Is that what you mean by...
Well, a collection of churches.
Of
the
churches,
National
yes.
Baptist Convention.
But isn't it true that most Negro men don't go to churches? It's mostly women, and therefore he's head of a woman's organization in that sense?
Well, we have a lot of men in the church and a lot of women as well.
Even in Rome, they say Most of the Catholic men don't go. It's mostly the women, and then nobody listens to them.
But, yes, but here again, he is one man.
Why haven't we heard of him if he's such an influential man?
Well, he does express the true aspiration of the American Negroes.
Mm-hmm. What about Roy Wilkins?
Well, Roy Wilkins, an executive of the NAACP,
Is he a legitimate leader in your opinion?
Well, my thinking is, and from my experience, Roy Wilkins is some sort of an errand boy for the NAACP.
All right, what about Ralph Abernathy? Is he a real Negro leader in your opinion?
He doesn't express the true aspiration of the American Negroes. For an example, this so-called Poor People's March on Washington.
Yes.
Demanding Congress to appropriate money to supply the material needs of the American Negroes. Well, what the vast majority of the American Negroes want from our government is protection of our individual rights and our property, not to supply our material needs. Therefore, he is not expressing the true aspiration of the American Negroes.
So when he, in the course of the Poor People's Campaign, expressed a desire for a guaranteed annual wage, you don't feel that he was expressing the typical black opinion in America?
Definitely not. The vast majority of the American Negroes do not want the government to guarantee them an annual wage. As a matter of fact, the government cannot guarantee an annual wage.
Do you see yourself as a Negro or an African American?
Well,
or Afro-American?
Well, I'm just a black American.
A black American?
Yeah.
Do you consider yourself, quote, a Negro, unquote?
Well, I consider myself an American.
Yes, I know that. You consider yourself an American Negro.
Well, you can call me that.
No, I don't want to call you anything. I want to know what you think.
He's a colored boy.
Well, I'm...
What's that, sir?
He's a colored boy.
A colored boy.
He's a colored boy. He's not a black man because he's speaking nothing black. So he couldn't call himself a black man. He could be a Negro. It's easily said that he's a Negro because the Negro has no original country. The Negro is only creative in name. So I would say that this youngster, this gentleman here, Reverend Dr. Colored Boy, is a Negro.
Well, of course, he's entitled to his own opinion, but I consider myself
opinion of all black men.
American. And the vast majority of the black people in this country consider themselves black Americans.
Is the vast majority of the black men in this country with the John Birch Society, or is this just a scheme of yours to get with the big buck? The John Birch Society is no Negro organization, and it's purely for the education.
Are you a member of the John Birch Society?
No, I'm not.
Well,
no, I'm not, but I do have insight on it. Just like the trouble you went up in Alaska and stirred up, which wasn't necessary. I think you had to be going for the big buck, because had your intents been for the best, you would have gone to the darkest part of Mississippi or Alabama. You went to a place where about only 20% of the population is black.
Well, I would like to inform you that
you're scheming. What you're doing is taking advantage of the gullible.
I've traveled this nation from the Atlantic to the Pacific and from Louisiana to Alaska. Alaska's not the only place that I've...
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say this was the only place.
What was it that happened in Alaska? Will you enlighten us, gentlemen, on that? What was so important?
I was on a speaking tour in the state of Alaska. I was invited by the local TAC committees up there, lecturing on the cause and cure of riots and civil turmoil in the country.
Of course, they don't have any black and white problem up there, I presume, do they? They have a very small and insignificant black population, do they not, in Alaska?
Well, the population is small, but notwithstanding, this conflict covers the entire country.
Now, just between me and you.
There is no particular community
just between
that
me
is
and you.
off-limits.
You can tell me. You can tell me. I won't tell everybody.
Keep your voice up, Mr. Wheeler.
For the big buck.
Of course not.
I don't mind anybody running a little short con game, you know what I mean? But just be honest. Don't hide behind the New Testament.
No, my first and final concern is the preservation
of Americanism. You have no
concern
concern except self-concern.
My first
You're
and
only
final
concerned
concern
about
is the
yourself,
preservation
Mr.
of
Dr.
Americanism.
Reverend Colored Boy.
Those individual rights with which each individual is endowed by its creator.
What's your trouble? Do you think that you're going to be able to blank out the knowledge that we've received by the benefits that we've received with some of this John Birch stuff? Let me tell you something, boy.
Incidentally, the
Let me
John
tell
Birch
you
Society is
something,
not
boy.
out to
You
destroy
all
what has
wrong.
been accomplished, but to preserve what has been accomplished.
You aren't preserving
You
anything.
don't see
You're
members of the
starting
society
something.
out
Now,
burning
what
down
are you doing?
communities.
What are you doing? I'll have to
Burning
quote
down
you
homes.
now. I thought you were starting a new movement. Now you're preserving the old. Now, let's be specific. Are you preserving the old movement, or do you intend to do something beneficial and quite new? Are you trying to make a discovery, a beneficial discovery, or are you renewing the old tactics which have been used on us to keep us enslaved financially and otherwise? Make yourself clear. Please hold your peace.
My first
Reverend
and
Dr.
final
Cullen,
concern is the preservation of the individual rights of all Americans.
Is that
now,
right?
the choice we face in this country is not between colors.
Is that
It is
right?
not between black and white. It is not between black power and white power, compulsory segregation or compulsory integration. But the real choice is between Americanism and world communism.
What do you know about Americanism? What do you know about Americanism, and what do you know about communism?
We must choose
Will you break that down?
We
What do you
must
know
choose
about this
today
subject?
Wait a minute,
between a world under
Mr.
Americanism.
Yearling, possibly you might like to answer that question. He says, what do you know about Americanism? Now, you once ran, I believe, against Adam Clayton Powell for his seat.
That's true.
So you have attempted at least to seek public office under the American system. What else would you like to say about Americanism and your participation in it?
Well, first of all, concerning communism, what I know about communism, there are many definitions, of course, of world communism, but the simple definition of world communism is total world planning.
Is that
total
internal
government
or external?
control?
Is that
programming.
internal or external?
Planning the life of the individual for him from the cradle to the grave.
Do we have total international communism in the
Once an
country?
individual's life is planned for him from the cradle to the
Do
grave,
we have total
he
international
has no
communism
freedom.
in the country?
The only freedom that person has, the only right the individual has, is the right to fit himself into the mold created for him by the World Program Committee.
I can't agree with that. I can't agree with that.
I have another question, Mr. Wheeler, that I would like to
Go right ahead.
ask Mr. Yearling, then you both can comment on it. Mr. Yearling, I have a note here that you're in favor of discrimination in the sale of homes. Is that correct?
Of course not. I think as far as the sale of home is concerned, I think the individual should have the right to sell his home to whoever he would like.
So you are in favor,
This is
then you are in favor
because
of
this is
discrimination.
what has gone
If a
on
man
in the
wants to
past. Are
discriminate.
you familiar with the subject?
Well, my thinking is the government shouldn't tell an individual to whom to sell his property.
Well, then you are in favor of a man
Of
being allowed to
discrimination.
discriminate.
You
in
don't
the
know
sale
what
of
you
his
for
property.
yourself, do you, bud?
We'll be back to both of you following these words. You've been called such things on your speaking tour as Black Whitey. The puppeteer presents the puppet has been one of the signs, and also Go Home Uncle Tom.
In
has
other
been
words, they
the
running a
sign.
Paul Winchell and Jerry Mahoney, or should I say Richard and Willie act. You see what I mean? The right wing is Paul Winchell in this sense, and he's Jerry Mahoney. He's the little Negro colored boy dummy that they're moving. They're working his mouth.
Well,
They're
the thing
sticking a
that
little cash to
the
him
thing I
under the
appreciate,
table, and this sucker is speaking against all the black movements which have brought us progress.
the thing that I appreciate most of all about America, among other things, is the fact that we have freedom of speech. We can say whatever we want to say, pretty much. And
But in your case, it
without
should
going
be
to jail
beneficial
for it.
to the black race.
So if they want to
you see,
call
you shouldn't be
names,
jabbing. You can be jabbing and say anything you want to say.
Well, now, here's
You're trying to be realistic.
basically, if I understand L.C. Wheeler, he's considering you to be a traitor to your own race.
Right.
You would seem to be leaning more toward the general population than you do toward your own race.
Can't you look
Well,
at
that
him and
isn't-
tell that
Do
he's
you
a
feel
shot?
any
Just look at
treason?
it.
Do you feel any
This
treason?
bar's a shock. Look at this bar.
That isn't so. The vast majority of the American Negroes are not interested in putting this nation on its knees. They are not interested in burning this country down. They want to preserve it. They have no intention of destroying this ship under the pretense of washing away the
Who
dirt.
told you this? The John Birch Society?
The vast majority
This where
of
you
the American
receive your
Negroes
information? Messenger boy?
are interested in preserving this country, and they're doing whatever they can. Those who are out to destroy it are just a very few.
I noticed he mentioned the word ship. And I noticed that also by his statements that he considers himself the captain of the ship. The leader of any other organization who doesn't agree exactly with him and precisely with him is committing mutiny. You understand? This mutiny and the rules of this mutiny was set up by the John Birch Society.
Well, no, my
Basically
thinking
a
is
white
that
organization
every
for the
person-
educated.
everybody
and this
who
is
is
black
not
at all.
doing something.
You're not black.
Everybody who is not doing something to
skin.
preserve this country
You are
is
a
aiding the
colored
cause
boy.
of its enemy.
You are a colored boy, a colored puppet, dangling. You know what I mean?
Well, every man is entitled to his own opinion. There are a few names in my book I could use too, but
How
I
do you, since we've heard Mr.
Ain't no
Wheeler's,
need to be no phony.
since we've repeatedly heard Mr. Wheeler's opinion of you, what is your opinion of Mr. Wheeler?
well, I hope he is a black American.
You hope? Or can't you tell, sucker?
Well, he seems to be rather positive
Well,
about you.
I don't know where he was born. That's
I don't know where you was born. What difference does that
What-
make?
what
Whether
does that
I'm
make?
black or not?
I don't understand
What
what
difference
has
does it
that
make?
got to do. He's native-born American.
oh, if he's
Are you
well,
not?
Well, then.
He certainly am.
Well,
It
then
doesn't make any difference whether I am or not. He can tell whether I'm black for what I stand for.
But well, then he's.
I'm black throughout.
He's a black American, but a little bit misguided, I presume.
Well, that's the same way I feel about you. I don't know what's wrong with you. I think you need to be admitted to an institution.
Well,
Speaking of institutions, you were fired from your job as a minister, were you
He
not?
was stealing. He was stealing.
terminated, yes.
He was
You were-
stealing.
you were
He was
terminated.
stealing.
Now, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Mr. Wheeler, wait a minute. I said, were you fired, and you say you were terminated.
well, my ministerial activities in the
And
Metropolitan
that which was
Baptist
stealing.
Church were terminated.
Terminated. In other words, you were fired. Is that the word?
Be specific.
Am I using
Get
the
on
wrong word, or
subject.
were you
Get on the
fired?
ball,
Well, the
Colorado.
word the terminator used was terminated.
Well, you was busted.
Well, when you
then.
stopped
You got
abruptly.
busted. That's all. You just got busted. You ain't got no job at that church no more, have you? You're no longer with the firm, then, are you?
Busted would be the word then, huh?
Now, my ministerial activities in the church where I was serving were terminated.
Stopped abruptly. Would
Right.
that be a good way of putting it?
Right.
Brought to a
And you ain't
screeching
got
halt.
no more action there.
All right.
And
Now, may I ask you why your activities as the leader of the flock there, the pastor, why were your activities
no,
terminated?
incidentally, I wasn't a pastor. I was an assistant to the pastor
All right.
of the church.
You
And
still
of
ain't
course,
got
You
and
that
led
as
you
long-
led part of the flock anyway.
You
huh?
ain't got that job no more.
You
And
conducted
I
services.
performed part of the duties.
Yes.
And, of course, in his own word, my ministerial activities were terminated because the church stood behind Dr. Martin Luther King.
And
And
you
Dr.
opposed-
Martin Luther King figured out
His
that you was
philosophy,
stealing.
That he what?
He must have figured out he was stealing. And this boy here said, well, he must be
Stealing?
coming.
Now, it had...
Yeah, I
it had
believe he
nothing
steal. If he lie, you steal, and that's all he been doing. Well, it makes you think that he'll stop by breaking one commandment when there are 10.
The church, of course, stood behind Dr. King.
And you opposed it.
although I deeply regret the tragic end which Dr. Martin Luther King met, I do not subscribe to his philosophy. It is my thinking that we can't solve the American Negro's problems through integration. We should go from protesting to producing.
You don't believe in
We should-
integration?
Well, I think that's a matter that should be left entirely up to
Make
the
up your mind now.
Well,
We can't solve it by integrating. We can't solve it by segregating. What we gonna do, Dad? Tell me. What we gonna do? We got to do one or the other.
I don't quite understand you. I mean,
You're all mixed
at
up,
the
colored
outset-
boy.
At the outset, I thought you were in favor of integration. Now I find that you are not. Are you a segregationist?
Compulsory integration and compulsory segregation, both I'm firmly opposed to, because,
What is your opinion of former Governor Wallace?
well, I don't know a great deal about Governor Wallace.
Is that your answer?
Deal about the black man.
Okay.
I don't know a great deal
You
about
don't
Governor
He doesn't know a
Wallace
great
on-
deal about
You don't
former
know
Governor
nothing.
Wallace.
Governor Wallace.
That's
You
the
don't even
answer to
know how to
that.
hold the New Testament in your hand. That's why you got busted.
Was the only reason you were terminated your opposition to, at that time, the alive Dr. King?
True.
That was the only reason.
I have a copy of the you know.
Joe, can't you tell this boy is
Right.
phony? Everything he
Now, that
say,
was
he
the only
has to
reason.
say, all right, don't you know this
Because
prepared?
the
Look at all
church
these notes he
stood
got up here. He
behind
ain't
Dr.
real.
Martin Luther
If he
King.
really be coming from here, look these notes this boy got up here.
He hasn't even referred to those notes.
But I seen him peeping, you didn't.
And, and I
You
do
think
not...
just because you didn't see it, I didn't see it? I'm looking at this boy. I'm watching this boy
I'm
because he's
trusting both of
dangerous.
you.
He's dangerous. No, don't trust this boy. He's a turncoat.
No, that'll help the situation.
Check the other side of this coat, I bet it's black.
Well, he's entitled to his own opinion.
How can you?
Everybody is.
I want to know something. How can you remain so calm and complacent when he's calling you everything under the
Because
sun?
he knows he's guilty, and then if you was getting that dope slammed to you every time you held your cool, they said, Joe,
He's
see,
zinging you. He's
Well,
zinging
the
you, and
reason
you're
is-
sitting
you
here.
don't want to rank the giant person
The reason
man,
is,
because if he
what
does,
this-
if
what
he
this
shows,
man-
if he shows the
what
nigga
this
in it,
man-
something gonna happen to this boy.
What this
Now,
man
he got
thinks
to be a
about
true
me,
Birchman.
what this man thinks about me makes no difference.
Well, then you're not
But
for
what I
black.
think
You're not
about
for
him-
black. You're not for black. You're not for black. You're
what
not
I
for black.
think about-
And you're not for black.
What
Because,
I
wait
think
a
about
minute, now,
him
wait a minute,
is what
wait
really
a minute,
counts.
wait a minute. Now you've contradicted yourself. You said that you were for any black person who wanted to join your organization. I have yet to say that I don't want to join that Rudy Poot organization you have. But if I did, you said that you were for any black man. You used the word Negro, but I'm not a Negro. I am black throughout, thoroughly. And if I want to join your organization, and it don't make you no difference what I think of you, then how can I follow you?
Mr. Wheeler, would you like to say something about this organization of which you're the director?
I'd like
It's one
to
that I
say-
haven't heard of before.
I'd like to say anything that you ask me. You yet to
Yeah,
ask
well,
me
what
something.
what does the Black Cat's Bone stand for?
Those who know don't say, and those who say don't know.
You mean it's an organization that is secret and you don't tell what you do?
The organization
is it
is
engaged
not
in
secret.
self-help
The
or what?
organization is not secret. This is more or less.
Well, then how can I find out if you don't answer
This
my
is
question?
more or less. This is more or less. Why do you call your show the Joe Pyne Show?
It's named after me.
All right. Well, then you know why, don't you?
Yes?
Why?
Why is the show named after
Why?
me? Because I run it.
'Cause you run it.
Right.
The Black Cat Bones run this. This is why.
Well, fine. Now that you told me that.
And in other words, what I'm trying to say, now, back to ghetto language,
Yes.
and I'm quite sure Webster Dictionary ain't got ghetto words in it.
Well, don't give me, any
So
big
what I'm
words that I
trying to
won't be
say-
able to
What I'm
understand.
trying to say is these things. Black Cat Bones is symbolically lucky, and it's beneficial.
In other words, to begin with, it's a superstitious society.
Not necessarily.
Well, you're talking about
The
luck.
name is.
Yeah.
We're not talking about the society. Don't take the name to the society.
Well,
now.
I'll be
What
all
you
night
gonna do?
finding out. We'll be
Okay.
right back after these words. Stand by. We'll go to the doc now. Would you state your name, sir?
Michael Smith.
Wait. We didn't hear your name.
Michael Smith.
Yes, sir.
Reverend Yearling. I'd like to ask you, you said earlier that you were all for the John Birch Society and that it's against communism. Well, how can you say that the black man is selling himself back to slavery like this? In other words, you're against communism and you feel that we're going toward a communist goal or helping the communists out.
You mean, think who?
The black man himself is helping the communists out.
Well, there are a few black faces being used
Is yours one of them?
and to aid the cause of the communists. But as far as the vast majority of the black American, there isn't a group of people on earth I know of has made as much progress in a shorter period of time with so little as the American Negroes.
Well, how do you think we have made this progress? Do you think we would have made it by sitting still and being quiet, or what?
Well, we have made it by pooling our own wisdom and means, using our own credibility to provide for ourselves the necessities of life. We certainly haven't made this progress by burning down the communities. As a matter of fact, that's what I'm opposed to.
He has Zionism He has Zionism and communism mixed up.
This
is all. He has Zionism and communism mixed up.
The civil rights bills were passed supposedly to protect the rights and property of the American Negroes. And now,
the Zionists are more responsible for everything that happens than the communists.
Here the American Negroes
you see what I'm saying?
Are more insecure.
This man here don't even know what communism really
are getting less protection now than 25 years ago. Now, what the responsible Negroes will have to do is combine that effort and oppose those who are supposed to be fighting for our rights.
Gentlemen, if you both talk at the same time, we can't hear either one.
That's right, and we can't even sing at the same time unless we get in harmony.
Well,
but he has...
Mr. Wheeler, once in a while, take a breath, and then we'll hear from the other fellow, and then we'll hear from you.
All right.
All right. Now, I'd like to hear from Mr. Wheeler without interruption, and then next time maybe you'll give him that courtesy. Go ahead.
All right. Well, first of all, he has Zionism mixed up with communism. You see what I'm saying?
No, I don't see what you mean.
Well, I'm saying that the Zionists are the people responsible for more of the action going on than anybody else.
And when you say the Zionists, are you referring to the people who populate the country of Israel?
I'm referring to the Jewish conspiracy to enslave the world. Ever since them Zionists killed Jesus Christ, Jews have been causing trouble. Now, what would you call
I don't agree with that. I don't agree.
Well, I didn't think you did. I can tell by the way you talking, you didn't, but then you don't know, do you?
According to our own government.
Now, what you gonna say about what our own government?
You promised to let him talk.
Okay.
We heard you out. Now let him talk.
According to our own government, world communism is our #1 enemy. And variously camouflaged, it has devoured over a quarter of this Earth's surface, nearly half the human race, more peoples and lands than all the conquerors in history combined.
All right, now let's hold it there. Go back to the dock. Swing the camera around and let's get your name, please.
Yeah, well, my name is Julio Maya and I'm from Cuba. And I want to ask you, what do you know about communism?
What do I know
Yeah,
about
what do you know about communism? Have you lived through it?
I really didn't get off on the subject of communism. As you recall, if you listen, instead of just getting up to make a point, I did go against the Zionists, young man.
Or are you trying to separate here every nation?
Under communism, you said.
Or are you trying to separate the people here? Why don't we just call ourselves American?
Well, we can't do that.
Instead of calling us black people, instead of calling us Mexican Americans.
We can't very well do that.
Oh, let me talk now.
You fail to realize the purpose of this discussion.
Look, you know the only one that wants to talk here.
Now, don't repeat yourself. Don't try to drown him out. Let the man say something.
Let me say something.
Well, he asked me a question. Am I not giving freedom of speech on the
If you answer the question, stop. You can't go over and over and repeat yourself again and again. Let the man say something.
Why don't we just call ourselves, instead of Mexican Americans, instead of Cuban Americans, instead of Puerto Ricans Americans, instead of Italians, why don't we just call ourselves Americans and make something out of this country?
Well, I didn't give these people this name.
And don't let any force take it over.
So I'm the wrong one to consult. You see, I didn't name the Mexican American and Mexican American. I didn't name the Puerto Rican American. You have to talk to the people that did that.
You
did name racists.
Tonight,
didn't you?
You named yourself an anti-Semite.
Is that right?
Didn't you? You did name racists.
I think what we...
Please, don't yell out of the audience, lady.
Oh, I got these folks excited. Look at that woman.
This is all we need to have women jumping out of the
That
audience.
woman going berserk, man.
All right.
I think at a time like this,
ma'am, I hate to ask you to leave, but you've got to keep your mouth shut or get in the dock, one or the other.
I think at a time like this, all Americans should unite, not behind black power, white power, or integration, but all Americans should unite behind Americanism, the cause of this country.
Americanism. May I respond to that? Am I allowed to respond to that?
Well, I wish you would both just hold it now till we get back to the dock. We have a new person in the dock. I'd like to hear from him. Would you state your name, sir?
My name is Douglas Brown. I have a question for Mr. Wheeler. Mr. Wheeler, if you don't think that international communism and American communism is the cause of our problems, what do you think is the cause?
I think that Zionism, as I've already stated, is the problem. That's basically the same. And first of all, you have to first distinguish between the two. International communism is communism in Red China, Russia, and all the foreign countries that are having trouble. Now, the communists in this country are called the domestic communists, they are the one-worlders who cause trouble here in the country. If you're going to fight communists, forget about the international communists. Work on the domestic communists.
Our number one...
Problems out of the country have nothing to do with us, you see.
Our number one enemy is communism, world communism. Once an individual becomes a communist, he is no longer black or white. He is no longer a Protestant or Catholic, and he is no longer a Jew or Christian. That individual is a communist, and his sole ambition is to do everything in his power to communize the whole world.
We'll be back with another guest following these words. Tonight, among other guests that you'll meet on our program, a former Roman Catholic priest and his reasons for leaving the church. The action starts in just a moment. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We're all set. Our doc becomes a beef box in the earlier part of the program. Your name, sir?
Mr. Lewis Marvin.
Yes. Would you speak up now?
Yes.
Yes. Don't mean by that to crowd the mic, but raise your voice louder.
Oh, all right.
What's your beef?
My beef
You
is
got beef with
against...
your tailor?
My beef is against the slaughter of animals.
Against the slaughter of animals?
You wouldn't string your son up on a ramp and put a shackle around his legs and hoist your son into the air and cut his throat and let his blood drop upon the floor. You wouldn't do that to your dog. And yet today, millions of people all over the world string lambs up by their legs and cut their throats and let their blood fall on the ground.
Would you prefer that they caught it in some kind of a container?
This lamb has the same feeling, the same eyesight, and the same hearing as you.
Just one thing. He's got to go.
For the last 1,000 years, men have slaughtered lambs, and in this is the most meaningful law ever known to man.
As a matter of fact, if you look into the Old Testament of the Bible, you'll find instructions from God to slaughter lambs.
I say to you that as you cannot hear the screams of a lamb in the slaughterhouse, you cannot hear the screams of your son on the battlefield.
I would like to ask you a meaningful question at this point. Are you a vegetarian?
I am indeed.
Do you ever eat tomatoes?
I would say to you,
yes or
for
no?
the last 3,000 years, man has
now.
created...
I'm asking you a question. Do you ever eat tomatoes?
For the
yes
last
or no?
3,000...
Do you eat tomatoes?
Of course I do.
You do? Do you know that there is now scientific proof that when you cut a tomato, it screams?
There is electrical...
You are a killer of tomatoes. And
my
you
friend,
there before
the
me.
tomato doesn't breathe. The tomato feels no pain.
And you're
the
killing
tomato's
tomatoes.
blood doesn't
Killing
flow
tomatoes.
in agony.
Killing tomatoes.
The tomato does not swallow tomatoes.
Take a walk. Goodbye. Oh, you going to sing something?
I would.
All right. This is the tomato stomp.
As the animal dies,
so shall
and you
the tomato.
take the slaughter of that animal, so will you die, my friend, and the screams of an innocent beast will plague you as
the
it has
next time
plagued
you cut
humanity
into that
for
tomato,
the last
I want you to
3,000
have a
years.
care. And when you see your tailor, tell him Joe sent you.
To judge a man by
Don't
the color
shout.
of his
Well, shout, you tomato killer! You tomato killer! We'll be back, friends, right after these words.
man.
Our guest is John L. Storm, formerly a Monsignor of La Jolla, California, who recently left his post with the Roman Catholic Church because of conscience and some fundamental disagreements with the hierarchy. It is now proper, I presume, to address you as Mr. Storm.
Either that or doctor.
Or doctor.
Yes.
You have a doctorate, I take it, in theology.
In laws.
In law. I see. Fine. For the benefit of those who are not quite familiar with the rank and file throughout the church, not getting up as far as the hierarchy at least, but the term Monsignor, can you tell us what Monsignor means? That is what you were.
Monsignor is an honorary title that is given to a Roman Catholic priest for either because of age, which rather obviously it was not given to me for, or because of some accomplishment within his priestly life.
And what was your accomplishment?
I was the founding president of the University of San Diego.
I see. Now, why were you sent to the San Diego diocese originally?
I came to San Diego from Erie, Mr. Pyne, where I was teaching in Gannon College. I came here because of a throat ailment which has been immensely benefited.
Were you having any trouble in the priesthood at that time?
Oh, no. No.
Did you come under the aegis of a man named Bishop Buddy?
Yes. Yes, I did.
And isn't it true that Bishop Buddy was known as a savior of priests, and priests that were having difficulties were sent to him, and he presumably saved them for the priesthood and for the church?
He did that for many. However, he happened to be a close friend and classmate of the president of Gannon College where I was teaching, and thus the connection and the way that I happened to come here.
So you came for the climate and not for the salvation?
Well, for both.
I see. You are not resigning from the Roman Catholic Church itself?
Yes, I have.
Oh, you now have?
Yes.
Your original statements in the news were that you would remain in the Roman Catholic Church.
No, I'm sorry.
Unless you were misquoted. You said you were not leaving the church itself.
No, I left the church and the priesthood, Mr.
You
Pyne.
did?
Yes.
Did you do that simultaneously?
Yes, I did.
Then you were misquoted. I'm sure you're aware that the newspapers were saying that you were not leaving the church itself.
I know that the San Diego papers carried nothing on this story. The only newspaper of which I was familiar at the time was the Los Angeles Times.
And now you're known, among the Irish at least, as a spoiled priest.
Yes.
Now they say that in the Roman Catholic Church, when a man's hands are consecrated to the priesthood, that this act, at least as far as the church is concerned and the people who adhere to it, can never be undone.
That is right.
You apparently don't feel that way.
No, I do not. I feel that at least in the time in which I was in the seminary and was ordained, I was ordained 25 years ago, that the young men of that era were certainly not emotionally progressive enough to recognize all these things.
Is it because the young men very often go in at such a tender age and begin to study in not just high school, but I believe as early as possibly the 8th grade?
That is true.
And they're not cloistered, that certainly is not the word, but at least they are constantly given this protective coloration of the church, so that sometimes they grow to be men of 23 and 24 without being very mature.
Oh, yes, that's immensely true. In fact, the only times in which you are permitted to be out of the seminary and, let us say, in the world proper, are in the summertime when you are under the direction of your pastor, and a week or two at Christmas and Easter. That is all.
Do you miss not saying Mass?
Yes, I do.
Why, if you have quit the church?
Well, the Eucharist was to me the center of the church, just as it is in the Episcopal Church and the Lutheran Church. But I felt that it was with me, because of some health history as a result of the harassments that were going on in the past, 10 years and more, it was with me a matter of either saving my life by way of leaving or else staying on and being carried out.
Well, that would have made you one more martyr, wouldn't it? And
yes,
therefore, presumably, a happy priest.
No, I don't see happiness in that kind of death.
You don't see happiness in martyrdom?
Not in that kind of martyrdom.
Have you ever Well, you mean there are good martyrdoms and bad martyrdoms?
I wouldn't consider that a real martyrdom when a person knows that he is really not in the proper spot, and yet he stays on in it and drops on that spot.
Well, what about the many brilliant and brave and dedicated missionaries who've done that very thing?
Yes, they have, but they have no doubt, at least I trust, been happy in their mission.
What other religion can look good to you after the Roman Catholic faith and you're being a priest for 25 years?
The Episcopal faith, the Lutheran faith.
Well, you're going to make a parlay there, or are you going to decide between the two?
It will take time.
You have a very good friend in the Episcopal faith, an Episcopal priest who also left his position.
Yes, he left his position, but in the Episcopal Church, there is a comfortable clause whereby you no longer cease to be a priest. You remain a priest, but you are in a non-parochial status. And so he left his parish, and he is on a leave of absence, but he remains a priest.
You could have had a leave of absence, could you not?
It would have required considerable time to obtain it, and it possibly would have meant the loss of the parish that I had.
Did your sense of sin, the rightness and wrongness of a mortal or a venial sin, just change in the past 3 or 4 months?
Oh, no.
Isn't there a sin in the church, at least don't they call giving scandal a sin?
Yes, they do.
And wouldn't you now be in the position of having given scandal to the church?
To those who would consider it that.
Well, what would you consider it, since you have achieved a good deal of notoriety in the press, at least among the people who are still remaining in the church? They consider you a man who has achieved some notoriety.
Yes, I have achieved notoriety, certainly not because of my own fault, however. I have been pushed into it so that the rather traditional view of Catholics that a man who would leave what Pope Paul reiterated is the only true church, that there's something the matter with his mentality.
Would you tell us, Mr. Storm, how you were pushed into it?
By my attorney.
How do you mean?
My attorney felt that it was best that I appear before the public and be seen as a person who was well, who was in possession of himself and of his faculties, rather than lose his reputation, as was beginning to be the case.
You mean
by
that
seclusion.
There were scurrilous attacks going on behind your back?
There always are when a man leaves the priesthood, Mr. Pyne.
And would these be fellow clergymen who would carry on this kind of thing, or would they primarily be laymen?
I would say both.
You would?
Yes.
Well, then, of course, if these priests were doing this, they would be giving scandal and therefore be in the position of sinning, would they not? According to their lights.
According to their lights, yes.
But they'd still do it.
Yes.
We'll be back to former Monsignor John L. Storm following these words. I'd like to cover some of the points that apparently simmered inside you for a long time before you made this dramatic decision.
Very good.
For one thing, you believe that the marriage laws of the church are too stringent. Is that correct?
Yes, that is right.
Now, the last time I checked, they had something in Rome called the rota. And as I understand it, the rota can declare that a marriage between two people who have appealed to it is invalid, and they can then go ahead and get a civil divorce.
Yes.
And as I understand it, the reasons for the rota declaring a marriage invalid are that there must be involved one of these ingredients: force, fear, incompetence, or consanguinity, marrying the third degree of kindred.
Yes.
But I've also heard that people with money can get an annulment. Is there any truth in that?
The only truth that would lie in that is that it does take a lot of money in order to go through the Roman courts.
It does?
Yes.
How much money?
Well, Mr. Pyne, that would depend upon the case, the length of time that it would require, which might be 2 or 3 years.
You mean you have to hire an advocate?
You do.
I see.
A canon lawyer.
Mm-hmm. And he has to appeal and appear for you?
That is right.
All right.
Yes.
Now, did you believe then that the church should liberalize marriage and perhaps reevaluate its position as regards divorce?
Very much so.
You did?
Yes.
And now how did this affect, for example, your hearing confession?
Well, of course, since that is under a seal, one can go only so far, but nevertheless,
Yes.
It would mean that the average priest, feeling as I would remain rather quiet rather than give much of a challenge to the individual. It would mean that when a person would come to the rectory to discuss the case with you, that you would simply take it up as is and would remain silent on it yourself. In other words,
when they came to you in the rectory or in the confessional for help, you couldn't give them any.
No.
So you began to feel frustrated in that area.
That is one of the things that drove me into this claustrophobia that I found myself in.
What about celibacy among priests?
I believe that that should be optional, and many priests and bishops feel the same way. There is no hope for that under the administration of the present Pope, because celibacy, of course, is simply a matter of discipline in the Roman Catholic Church. It is a teaching. And this present Pope, Pope Paul, has flatly stated there will be no change in his administration.
When the Pope speaks on matters of church and morals, or faith and morals, he is said to be by the Church infallible. Do you believe him to be?
No, I do not, and that has been one of my concerns over many years.
How many years?
I would say 10, 15. Ever since I understood much better what infallibility means, what it implies, and the extent of it. After all, infallibility is less than 100 years old in the Roman Catholic Church. It was declared as such at the First Vatican Council, and the plurality of votes that made it a law was very slight.
During the same, it seemed to me to be the same 2-week period in which you had declared your independence of the Roman Catholic Church and resigned your position, there were 2 other cases that we read about in the paper, and I believe both of them were Jesuits.
Yes.
And one had left, I believe, back in Maryland, if I'm not mistaken.
That is right, yes.
To get married. And the other one, I don't think the stories, at least that I had read, were clear on why he left. But we're seeing a great deal of this. I think we've had 3 men on here who have left the priesthood. One who wrote a book called The Spoiled Priest.
Yes.
Who has become quite well known. Another man who was running a hospital over in Arizona and got into quite an argument with maybe you know about him, who has also written a book. He got into confessions to an ex-priest. He got in quite an argument with the church over how he was running the hospital, and apparently, according to him, he got too popular, and a bishop was trying to set him down and so forth. And he left the church, and he now conducts apparently some kind of a touchstone or a way station where men who are leaving the priesthood can contact him and he will help them. He regards every man that he takes away from the church, that he robs from the priesthood, as a personal victory. Now, are you going to be getting into that position? And also, my other question was, are we going to see more and more of these priests leaving?
No, you will not see more and more of them leaving. Many are leaving, and they are leaving in much greater numbers than one knows. But the only reason that you see somebody as myself going is because of a position that I might have held, and you just don't drop out of existence.
At one time, that's right. You headed up the San Diego University.
Yes, I founded that in 1954.
Mm-hmm. And you had some difficulties then at that time, in the late 50s, did you not?
1957, yes.
Now, what were your arguments and problems at that time?
They were really so picayune as to be negligible, I guess, to the public. But we must remember that the Roman Catholic Church is an autocracy. It is a one-man rule, and when a man is in possession of all of the law, he can do entirely as he pleases. And so it was with the then Bishop of San Diego. He instituted a number of what I call harassments. He would have a letter sent to me approximately every other day asking about expenses in this department or about the approach to this part of the curriculum and so on, until a man was very weary after a month or more of this.
Well, was it, in your opinion, his thought to get you out?
Yes, it was.
Was this Bishop Buddy?
Yes, it was.
The man known as a savior priest who was involved in harassment of you?
Well, of course, I didn't call him the savior of priests.
No, it's apparently you were having your difficulties with him at that time.
Yes, it was rather easy. That was the disposition of the man, though. And so he had me take a leave of absence for 3 months, during which time he paid me $250 to leave San Diego. In that 3-month period, he had a check made upon the entire administration. He could find nothing wrong with it.
You mean a financial audit?
He had that among other things. But the curriculum, the faculty, all of it was inspected. I returned then at the end of the 3-month period. But his ire was still up, and I guess was for a long time to come. Therefore, he said, "You are president in name only." And so you may have read in the Los Angeles Times that I was a puppet president for a year and a half. I had no authority, but I was allowed to occupy the office. I spoke for the university at all public functions, conferred the degrees and so on, and that was it.
But you did adhere to your oath of obedience.
Yes, I did.
To your superior.
And I became rather ill over it.
Frustrated once again.
Yes.
We'll be back to former Monsignor John L. Storm following these words. Where do you stand, Mr. Storm, on the advocacy or the denial of birth control pills for Roman Catholics or other artificial means of birth control?
I stand very firmly in favor of birth control, all forms of birth control. And that has not to do just with the explosion of the world, but it certainly has to do with the natural drives in people.
Well, then what really happened to you was you were sitting around one day and it suddenly dawned on you were just about 100% Protestant.
Yes.
That's about what happened, because I can't see much difference between your attitude and that of Martin Luther a long time ago. He was also a priest who found many faults with the church and so departed. Only in this case, instead of founding religion, you quite possibly will follow his, if not the one founded by Henry VIII.
More than likely, one or the other.
Now, how do you feel about that? Here you were, a priest for 25 years, and you are now considering the opportunity of following two religions, both founded by mortal men. In one case, not a very admirable man. And yet the religion from which you come, you've always believed that that Peter once said, that God once said to Peter, "Thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, or you will build my church, and the gates of hell will not prevail against it."
Well, I feel that that was said to Peter as the Christian church, not only
not as the Roman Catholic Church.
No, I have.
So
not
you feel you're staying in the body of Christ.
Oh yes, very much so.
I see.
Very much so.
Let's go to the dock. There apparently are some people waiting who would like to question you or make a statement to you, and we'll find out what they have in mind and see what your answers might be.
Thank you.
So would you state your name, please?
My name is John Giltonan.
Yes.
Doctor, isn't it true that the time of your departure from the University of San Diego, Bishop Buddy was incurring a great deal of harassment as a result of your being there, as a result of the university standing in dread of losing its accreditation? And isn't it true that the finances were in very dire circumstances prior to Father Cadden's acceptance of the post?
No, that is not true. Any more than it would be true to say that any one period of the history of the university was a dismal financial period. The entire period has been because, of course, it was overbuilt. And the diocese overextended itself in the construction of it.
It isn't true that the circumstances are dire there now.
Very.
Nor that they have been dire for the last, I've had much knowledge of it for the last 5 years.
Yes.
From a professional basis. And it is not true. It's a fine, sound running organization and financially well able to meet all of its commitments. Its accreditations now are higher than they ever have been. And the university looks like it's on its way to being a very prosperous organization.
Oh, I beg to differ
I
with
think that you might be a little unkind to a man who has passed away when you talk about his harassing you, unless information was passed on to me much prior to ever seeing you here this evening as to some of the problems that he had with you. I think that there might be two sides to the coin, and I think that there's probably a real good possibility that the reason that you have taken this step is because maybe you weren't quite man enough to live up to your vows, and that
well, I would like
I will
to
pray for
answer,
you.
if you will, I would like to answer you on this particular subject first, of the finances. The financial status of the University of San Diego is so critical at this moment that at its last commencement in June, Bishop Fury announced that they would have to incorporate. You see, the Women's College has never been incorporated with the Men's College, has been a separate entity, separately owned, yet on the same premises. But that all of the
I don't
university...
believe you understand. The Women's College has no connection whatsoever with University of San Diego.
It now
It is
does.
a diocesan college. They are now sharing many of their facilities.
I beg your pardon, but the Bishop of San Diego announced, and you may check the Copley Press for this, he announced that there would have to be an incorporation of that women's college with the other colleges owned by the diocese if the university were to survive. It is that serious.
Well, all I can say is I know you are mistaken. I don't have facts and figures to present to show that you are mistaken, but I am sure you're just as mistaken about that as you are about this big step that was taken in your life, probably much at the behest of the Catholic Church. Thank you.
Any comment on that, Dr. Storm?
The gentleman is entirely wrong, and I would simply ask that he check with the press in the Southland in the San Diego area.
No, I wasn't speaking about the financial condition of the university so much as I was his parting comments about your...
Well, he appears to be a buddy man, and there are the buddy men and the storm men, I guess. And I certainly had no intention when I entered the program of disparaging the memory of anyone who is deceased.
We have just a moment or two. Would you state your name, sir?
Jim Osterbrink.
Keep your voice a little louder, please.
Mr. Storm, don't you think it takes more intestinal fortitude to work for reform within an organization rather than copping out like you did?
It certainly does, and because I used that fortitude to its last, that is why I left.
I say work within the organization
Yes.
rather than leave takes more intestinal fortitude than copping out.
Yes. For many, many years, I exerted that intestinal fortitude. In fact, we have in that diocese what is called the priest senate, which you will find in many dioceses now. In some it is workable, in others not. In San Diego, not. I was elected the vice president of the priest senate of San Diego Diocese. We formulated various enactments that we felt would better the conditions of the priests. Therefore, we were working from within as you speak.
Well, we thank you very much for coming here.
Thank you very much.
We'll be back with another guest following these words. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. We're all set to go again with the parade of gripers. Before we do anything else, let's begin with the first gripe. What's your name, sir?
My name is Oscar Hollendorf, and I have a pet shop.
Well, that's all right with me.
Thank you. I like to talk to people.
What's your gripe?
Well, it's not a gripe. It's more or less a plea or advice. People that have dogs. It's heartbreaking to see those dogs running loose the streets. Many of them in the middle of a street, don't know which way to turn, and of course it's not their fault. People shouldn't have any dogs if they can't take care of them. First
I've
of
always
all,
said that, yes.
if there is only one person in the family that doesn't like dogs, that dog will not have a good home. Some people maybe can afford a dog. It's been proven that the average dog is about $150 a year it costs a person. If they can't afford it, they shouldn't have it. if they're not good with children. And it's no reason to just let the dog run loose. There's a way of giving the dog to someone that probably could give him a good home. Either advertise in a paper or talk to the neighbors, relatives, friends, even relatives in Europe, if possible, to get him a home instead of letting him run loose.
Relatives in Europe?
Yeah.
I didn't think you could ship a dog over.
Well,
I think in Great Britain, don't they keep them in quarantine for about 6 months?
well, I don't think they would have to go that far, but there's always somebody I would like to have a dog.
Yeah, they
So
could pop them into an air-conditioned care package.
That's right, too.
Sure.
So my advice, people that buy dogs for a present or so should to make sure whether that person likes dogs. If they don't like it, it's not a good present.
All right, pal, I'm with you. Would you stand behind the microphone, please, instead of leaning? Right.
My name is Miss Ann Kaufman, and my gripe is something that has happened to me in the last few months. I was intrigued by these new IBM ways of matching mates, and I enrolled.
Kind of an IBM deal?
Yes, the modern way of finding someone suitable for oneself. In good faith, I signed up for $300, and it's 4 months now, and I haven't had one date. I have a contract signed by the president who guaranteed me at least one date a month. And I have
Maybe he'll take
found.
you out.
Well, if you can find him.
If you can, well, I thought that you received so many cards a month, and then you selected from the cards.
I haven't had a telephone call, much less a call, other than that. But you see, one of the employees alerted me and told me that the IBM machine was not used in the last 4 months. And in that time, they enrolled me. And they weren't actually processing. Now, there is no service. And I think that's very unfair.
Yeah, I think you ought to get your money back.
Well, I've tried, and they don't answer my letters.
You what?
They don't answer my letters.
They don't?
No.
Well, I would go to the nearest bunco squad.
Well, the employees have already done
whatever's the closest bunco squad to this particular operation, I would go there to the police and I would sit down and tell my story, and I have a feeling that you'll get your money back, or somebody will go to jail and it won't be the machine.
I talked to the man who was supposed to have the machine, and he said he's never had a contract with this company.
Well, tell me, do you feel honestly that as the result of appearing on my program, if you get through 2 or 3 dates, you would owe me the $300?
Well, I think that people who do this should be compensated for the trouble they go through.
Yes, of course.
In fact, if these people aren't honest, this has kept me from doing it with a company that might be honest.
Would you have married somebody who came out of a machine, so to speak? Their name came out of a machine?
Well, if he was a nice human being, and
do you want to look into the camera there now and give his qualifications?
Well, he could be a very personable, professional man, or a good businessman, as I'm a good businesswoman.
Are you, do you have a lot of money?
Well, enough to interest somebody, but I wouldn't like to feel that I had to have money to interest him.
Mm-hmm. But you are comfortably fixed financially.
Yes, I've been in business 20 years, and as far as my business, I give more value received than women expect when they walk into my store. I feel that this has been no value received.
Well, if you'd like to write into this wealthy woman and tell her how you'd like to sweep her off her feet and take her off to wherever, just send your cards or letters in, friends, to this program, and we'll forward them to you. We'll be back with more of this, something else, I think, after these words. Stand by. For some reason or other, people who talk about flying saucers and related subjects never cease to fascinate our audience. So we've invited the editor of the Saucer News, Mr. James Mosley, here tonight to tell us about not only the unidentified flying objects, but a most amazing story he writes about. This hard-to-believe tale is about the Mothman of West Virginia. He's supposed to look like a big bird, has huge red eyes, an 8-foot wing spread, And get this, he loves to chase cars down the highways at 80 or 90 miles per hour.
Well, Joe, that's quite right. I have about 10 clippings about this.
10 clippings?
Yes, and I've explored the area myself and talked to some of the people down there. There's no doubt that there is some phenomenon, some bird, if you will, that is very different from any bird that I've ever heard of.
You think it could be maybe a giant crane that just escaped from the cranium?
Well, some people have said it might be a crane, but these are not the people that have seen it. In fact, the most interesting story of all involved a man whose dog was apparently kidnapped by this giant bird. The man was in his home one evening watching television when he saw some disturbance on the set. And when he went outside, he saw two glaring eyes about 6 inches apart standing out in the darkness. So the dog became very frightened. Its hair stood up on end, but it nevertheless ran out into the darkness and followed these eyes. The next day, they found tracks going out into that field and ending at a certain point, the dog's tracks, and that was the end of the dog, but no tracks of the bird. Now, this is one of the stories that I've published in Saucer News because we're interested not only in flying saucers, which many people today are interested in, but we're interested also in any offbeat story, if you like, anything that's beyond our common experience. That would include the Mothman, for instance, or any of several other categories of monsters, the Loch Ness Monster, for instance.
Well, do you really believe that there's a man with an 8-foot wingspread and red eyes?
Well, I only know what the witnesses tell me.
But do you believe it?
I believe that they're quite sincere. Now, they could have made a mistake, but I don't think so.
Well,
and by the way, the wingspan is 10 feet, not 8.
Oh, it's 10 feet.
And the size of the being is about the size of an average-sized man. Now, how it got the name Mothman, I don't know. Some clever person in the newspapers probably made that particular term up. All I know is the sightings or the facts. Just as in anything in flying saucers or in any of these other offbeat fields,
So
we
you
only take the facts.
tend to believe it. You tend to credit
I tend to credit the witnesses as knowing what they saw.
When you were a little boy, did somebody bend the metal on your erector set? Huh?
I can't recall if they did or not.
Have you ever been afflicted with bad dreams?
No, not for many years. In fact, I enjoy my work, which is publishing a magazine on offbeat subjects, and I find that it's an interesting field. You meet interesting people, and you rarely meet the crackpot, very rarely.
Very rarely meet the crackpot.
That's right. Of course, there are a few, but most of these people, 95% of them are sincere people who just report what they see. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Mothman, wherever you are. Well, if you've never seen the Mothman yourself, why do you believe that a Mothman exists?
Well, I've never seen China, but I believe China exists.
I heard a commercial the other day where they talked about Fred Frump, the tap-dancing weightlifter who was picked up by a giant eagle on the beach and carried away.
I haven't heard that story.
But if you heard it, would you believe it?
Well, I'll tell you, I might if several people told the same experience. In other words, you reach the point where it is more unlikely that this number of people could be mistaken than it is that they're telling the truth. You have to go by the weight of evidence like you do in any scientific investigation. And in Saucer News, I try to be scientific in the whole thing. Some stories I reject because I can't substantiate them. Some stories I accept personally, and some stories I just print because they are of a informative value to the reader.
Now, on this Mothman story, do you think that you possibly could be influenced because you've watched too many Batman episodes?
I hate Batman. I never watch it.
You hate Batman?
That's right. I don't like
Wait a minute, there's a clue right there. He hates Batman. Now wait. Now we're going to get to the bottom of something. I wonder if that has anything to do with the way your eyebrows flick up and down sometimes when you talk.
Might well have something to do with that.
Now,
but I'll
tell me,
you,
how long have you hated Batman?
Ever since he made his comeback recently on TV, I don't go for fiction or science fiction. I'm just interested in facts.
You just like the fact, right?
That's
Like a 10-foot wingspread on a man. A good solid fact that you can get your teeth into, right?
I'm glad
With red eyes bugging out there,
I'm glad
right?
you said 10 foot instead of 8 because I'd like to keep the facts straight.
There must be a reason why you hate Batman.
Well, I just think it's a waste of time. I don't really hate Batman.
No, you said you hated Batman. How do you feel about Robin?
I feel about the same way about Robin, I'd say.
You hate a little boy? Huh?
I think it's a waste of time. I think that there are genuine mysteries in our world which the thoughtful person will take an interest in. And I don't think that everybody should publish a magazine as I do, but certainly they can take the trouble to read these offbeat things in the newspapers, in the magazines, on shows such as this, which are very kind to expose these subjects to the public, I think, which is an important service. If people are not interested in this kind of thing at all, then they just get caught in the humdrum routine of their daily lives, and they don't think beyond that. And I think it's a great mistake not to be interested in the offbeat.
Do you hate anybody else besides Batman?
Well, they're only fictional beings. I don't hate any actual person, I don't think.
You don't hate the actor who plays Batman?
No, indeed. I think it's a good job, probably. Well-paying job.
Yeah. You're also involved with flying saucers.
That's my main interest, but as I say, I go off into these things such as the monsters that have been seen around the world.
You're more partial to monsters, actually.
More partial to saucers, to UFOs, as I call them, than to monsters. May I say, by the way, in regard to UFOs, that they have finally been vindicated in a very recent issue of the Saturday Evening Post.
Yeah, I read it. I don't think they've been vindicated.
Well, may I say that the scientific consultant to the Air Force, the chief scientific consultant, has now stated categorically that he believes that they're either from another planet or they are a totally unknown natural phenomena.
You know what I think? I think he hung around with this whole investigation so long that it began to get to him. Somehow.
20 years he spent on this, and I think that as the time went by, the
20
evidence,
years, yeah.
The evidence started to convince him.
I wonder if he hates Batman. I'll tell you what, you have a film of a flying saucer episode here. Can we roll that film? Oh, we'll do it right after the commercial, shall we? We have a word. When we come back, you will see what this man has brought to us, about 40 seconds of film, presumably showing flying saucers in action. Stand by. Exactly what will we see as this film rolls?
Well, this is about 35 seconds of actual flying saucer footage taken in a little town called Lost Creek, West Virginia. And it's an amateur film. You can see right away that there are parts of it that do not actually show the saucer. It's an attempt to follow a craft which is about to land in that area. So as it rolls, you just have to ignore the first few seconds where you don't see anything, and then the next 15 or 20 seconds you see the craft moving about in the trees.
All right, let's roll the film and take a look at it, shall we? What are we seeing here now? Just the trees, huh?
Yes. Now, you'll see the saucer in just a moment. I don't know. Yes, there it is.
That's a saucer, huh?
And this lasts for about 10 or 15 seconds. Of course, it's an amateur thing, as I say. So it's not, well, if it were a fake, it would not be done this poorly as far as technical skill is concerned. That's my opinion.
You know what it looked like to me? Somebody threw a mushroom over a tree. I remember a program we did one time, and a man showed some film and of an actual saucer that he went to, I believe it was the planet Venus in. And as we looked at it, it looked very good. It looked better than your film. It really was moving out. And he said, they picked me up in the desert and took me out. We had it analyzed, and it turned out that he had actually gone to the planet Venus in the top of a vacuum cleaner. That's what it was.
Well, let me say that there is some fakery, but not in film. Very hard to do. I've talked to so many people about that, and still pictures can be faked, and there are many around that are not worth much, but the movies are something more serious,
well,
and I think
now
this is genuine.
You say it's difficult to fake things with film. Anybody who ever saw The Day the Earth Stood Still could swear that this flying saucer was flying right into Washington, D.C. They could see it land.
Well, Joe, the thing is, that's an expensive job. What did that cost them? Hundreds of thousands of dollars to do that? That's animation that's done by professionals.
Well, it can be done.
Well, if you have a bankroll like a movie house.
You also believe in little people, don't you?
Yes, I do. I think there's a high probability that there have been seen throughout this country over a period of time and throughout the world in the last 20 years, there are 200 or 300 cases in which creatures 3 to 5 feet high have been seen getting out of flying saucers.
The Billy Barty Squadron. Huh?
Now, to believe a thing like that would only come to me after studying a great number of cases. It took me many years before the balance of evidence was, for me, enough to make me feel that these are probably true.
Are they little green men?
No, they are never green, Joe. People say that as a joke, but they're never green. They are...
Well, what are we going to do with all the little green women?
I don't know about them either. It's news to
me. We have a
me.
surplus of them if we have no little green men.
No, it's really interesting how people
it's
who don't
fascinating,
read
yeah.
newspapers, Joe, I am what is called in the field of flying saucer research a conservative person, because I don't believe the other people who, as you've intimated, claim to have flown to other planets or who have been out in space before our astronauts were able to get there. These are the people who wrote books and made lots of lectures and in some cases lots of money, and who were a small minority of about a dozen people, most of them from California, by the way. And I think that they had obvious motives for gilding the lily, to make it a very mild statement. However, most people...
In other words, most of these people are kooks, but you.
A dozen kooks, and then there's about 5 million people in this country who have seen flying saucers, according to a recent Gallup poll. And they are not necessarily kooks. This is a cross-section of the country, including scientists,
Gallup poll. Wasn't that the poll that said that Thomas Dewey was elected over Truman?
Different poll. This was very recent. It said, I forget the exact percentage, about 6 or 7% of the entire country have seen saucers, and over 50% think that they very likely come from another planet.
Let's go to the doc now. There's a man who's standing here, has something I suppose to say to you. Would you state your name, sir?
My name is Bob Myers, and getting back to this Mothman, could you tell me how many witnesses there were who saw this?
I have about a dozen witnesses. There was a group of 4 the first time, and after that there was another group of 4 about 100 miles from there. I'd say about a dozen.
They weren't all related then? Huh?
No, they didn't even know each other. These came out different days over a period of several weeks. In fact, I think it's still going on in that portion of West Virginia.
But still, that doesn't make it fact, does it?
Well, it makes it very probable as far as I'm concerned.
No, but you said to Joe that it was a fact. You said, I only believe in facts.
That's right. That's what you said.
Well, I know what I see, I'm positive of. What other people see, I can only take the weight of evidence about. I would certainly, if I have a choice, say I do believe them.
Okay.
Thank you. We have somebody else here for the doc. Would you state your name, please?
I'm Bessie T. Arthur, the space lady.
Space lady.
Yes. Well, I've known as that. They started calling me that in various states of United States. I wanted to say, Joe, I don't quite like the way you're treating this man. He's on a legitimate subject, and we're all very vitally interested in this. The government knows about this, and King Jackie's is back here, and he's mad at you, too. I do think that we should give a man a chance to express himself and to give his opinion and not, be belittled.
Now, hold on just a moment. Do you like the way you're being defended here?
Well, the lady is a very kind person, and I appreciate her opinion of support.
Well, now let's analyze the type of person who's defending you for just a moment. Have you ever been in outer space?
Yes, I have.
I didn't say I believed her. I said she's a very kind lady who I appreciate the help
Wait
of.
a minute.
Where have you been in outer space?
Wait a minute. I have proved this before scientists. Scientists have stood up and been amazed. And one scientist said, I don't know how you did it, lady, but you must be on there because you have all the answers.
Well, how about answering this question? Where was it you were in outer space?
I was at the planet Clarion, which is on the other side of the sun.
Joe, there's a problem about Clarion. I've heard of it before. It's situated...
Well, I suppose you have, yes.
It's situated in such a way that you can never see it. And, of course, I don't guess you've heard of Clarion, because...
Oh, yes, I've heard of Clarion. There was a man here one day, he said he was King Jackie from Clarion, who had his space coupe parked down the street and couldn't get his money exchanged.
Well, I don't know about that, but I personally...
Oh, I've heard of Clarion.
I personally don't believe in anybody from Clarion, actually.
Oh, yes.
Lady, you were just put down by our guest.
Pardon me?
He just put you down. He said he doesn't believe in anybody from Clarion.
Well, you see, I'm used to proving myself all the time.
Yeah, but here's a man who believes in Mothmen and little people, and you stand there before him and he can't believe you.
Well...
Would you believe Mars?
You know, I'll get it back at him.
More likely.
You know, I'll get it back at him. You know, the Mothman is a crane, and it comes from the cranium.
I think you said that, Joe.
Ding-a-ling, ding-a-ling-a-ling,
yeah.
ding-a-ling.
All right. Now,
a walk. Shh, shh, shh.
That reminds me, do you think we could shoot the Mothman down with a can of giant flit? Huh?
Doubt it very much. He flies at 100 miles an hour. You'd never be able to.
The Mothman flies at 100 miles an hour?
Yes, in the one case he chased an automobile at that speed. 4 people said so.
Did he get it?
No, he just hovered over it as they drove along from 90 to 105 miles an hour for a period of about 4 or 5 miles down the road. This was in all the papers in West Virginia. Yeah.
I'll just bet it was.
It was.
Would you state your name, please?
Jenny Spinello. And I just have one question. I want to know who measured the wingspan.
It was an estimate, obviously, by the
Well,
witnesses.
you got mad when Joe said 8 feet. You said it was definitely 10. I
I was
just
just
want to know
trying
who
to bug
measured.
Joe because I had a feeling he might be
Bug
trying
me,
to
get
bug
it?
me.
Moth, bug, get it?
I was
For
just
all I know,
wondering,
this guy's going to walk outside, strap his wings on, and fly away from here.
Well, that was the only question I had. I just wondered, if you wanted things so factual, how you got
No,
that.
these are always estimates. It's the same with flying saucers. People say they saw something at a distance of a quarter mile with a diameter of 40 feet. Of course, they might be wrong by 20% or something. You never know.
You're expecting a child?
Yes,
When?
any day.
Any day?
Yeah.
You stand there with my doc threatening me any day? Any moment? You don't think this conversation could affect the thinking of your child, do you?
No, I don't think it'll be that quick.
Good luck to you. Thank you very much. Well, I suppose you're anxious to remove your navel and get back into orbit.
Well, I appreciate the kindness of the interview, and I am very glad to have been here.
Well, if you say that, then I'm really worried about you. If you say you're glad to have been here, then you've got me concerned.
I've enjoyed it very much.
You really have?
I really have.
Woo! We'll be back with another guest after these words. Stand by. Well, this face, when she picks it up, there it is known to millions of television viewers throughout the world as a super saleswoman of deodorants and spaghetti. But to her friends, Nina Varela is a very outspoken lady who thinks a woman should be president of the United States. Some of you may have seen this lady on the commercial where it says, "Are you worried about your new relatives coming to meet you for dinner?" And then they start coming in past the camera distorts their faces. Huh? That's one you did.
Yes, that's the one, and I won the Clio on it.
You won a Clio.
Yes, I would have rather had an Oscar for a juicy acting assignment, but I won it on just going like... And I won the Clio.
What? I don't even know what a Clio is.
A Clio is the Oscar of the non-theatrical field.
Oh, it is?
Yes. Like the Emmy, the Grammy, all the rest of those, the Clio.
Get a little statue?
Yes, slim and lovely, not like myself.
Now, when you get something like that, does that mean that there's a rush of people who offer you jobs?
Oh, you're hot for a time, but the irons in the United States cool off very quickly. Not so in Great Britain, they're a little more loyal. But you have to be very fast to catch it. I'm all right. I went from that into the writing field.
Well, Great Britain, did you do commercials in Great Britain?
No, I didn't, but they love their people until they get old and gray, and they are loyal to them. But here, one month you're in, 1 year you're in, the next year you're out, and you've got to stay hot. If you don't get a Clio, you better get something else.
What kind of money, Miss Varela, does that pay to be on there for one of those deodorant commercials?
Well, it depends on how often they use it and what time, A, B, or C, and whether it's a spot or whether it's a 30 or a 60.
Well, that thing they used all the time. It got so that you couldn't turn on the TV without seeing it, so it must have been super A time. What did that pay?
It paid quite a bit. Oh, I think we got about upwards of 20,000.
You could live on that for a year, huh?
I could, but after I got the check, it had leukemia. We have three taxes in New York and an agent.
That's
get a
right.
check,
You have a city tax and.
You get $1,000, and you're lucky if you end up with 400.
So what did you do to get around it?
It was nice. I didn't get around it. I can't get around anything right now. Nothing can get around me. If I don't work at this, I've had...
Since you brought it up, are you normally heavy?
No, I was a 12-pound baby, and it almost ruined my mother's rating.
What is your normal weight? I mean, your normal fighting weight?
My fighting weight is generally between... oh, this is terrible. All right, 250 and 300. Now, sometimes, oh yeah, you because don't give it to me.
What causes it to fluctuate 50 pounds?
Well, the only thing my father ever left me were his glands. And it fluctuates.
Yeah,
and they fluctuate, the metabolism. And I started as a 12-pound baby, and then I had the baby fat. It stayed with me till I was an adult. But I've gone down to 200. That's where I'm aiming for now. I'm down to 265. I've got to get down. I came down from 297. I won't quibble about the 3 pounds. And now I've got to get back because I go into rehearsal. As I say, I'm in 5 fields, Mr. Pyne.
Five fields?
Yes, I'm a model, believe it or not.
Well, you ought to have a little weight to be in all those fields, I guess.
You have to fill them.
You're Now, when you say you're a model, what do you model? Tents or what?
That's what I say, offbeat. Battleships, tugboats.
All right.
I know my place.
Yes.
And so I'm going to get it off so I can get up into the upper strata there. I still have a wee bit of vanity left.
What are these other fields that you're in besides modeling?
All right. In modeling, and I'm a good typist, biller typist. I used to have to go into an office and
How
work.
many words per minute?
How many words? About 70, 75.
Pretty fast.
It's very fast, but I've got a mental block with the electric typewriter. You know, I just breathe on the thing.
Yeah.
And
I have never been able to make the switch myself.
I can't. I mean, just call me an idiot.
No.
It's so light
there
there.
are many of us that haven't been able to make the switch.
I haven't, and but I know one who just made the switch, the Monsignor.
Yeah, he just made it.
Yes, he made it, and he was talking to me back there.
What do you think of that?
I understand it very much because we had a member in my family, I don't want to go into the reasons and everything, that he shook the frock. And
shook the frock, huh?
He shook the frock.
Said goodbye to the flock and shook the frock.
And shook the frock.
I see.
And flew.
You mentioned now typing and modeling. What are the other 3 fields?
Well, the typing was to get my 20 weeks unemployment insurance,
right,
so I can keep the residuals in the bank.
So, in other words, another field would be unemployment.
It would be unemployment. Oh no, that's an extra thing. That's a hobby. And then I have the straight acting field. I have the comedy acting field. I was a stooge for some of the biggest name comics, and I ran out of them.
What do you mean?
They won't work with me, so it's all right. It's their
You mean
privilege.
you stole the show and that was
Well,
it?
I don't know what. I was so large or something, and the poor things. I mean, I was the last stooge for Lou Costello, and he died 5 months later, and I've always gotten the blame, I guess. Ask any of the
Well, I
big
hope not.
boys.
Who else have you stooged for?
Oh, I've stooged for Jimmy Durante. You're too strong, kid. You're too strong. He said to me, all right, so I went. Of course, Jerry
Should
Lewis.
learn how to do the cakewalk. You'd have been all
Well,
set.
Jerry Lewis, I said, I'd love to work for you sometime, but I guess you like so-and-so. He had somebody else, a big woman. Hope Emerson, she died. God rest her. As then I get up to the jobs, they have to die, the character women, before I step up there. So I gave up and went back of the camera to pedal. I pedal in front, I pedal in the back, I pedal on the side. I'm an old peddler.
What?
It's a fiddler on a tin roof or whatever.
You know, they have a habit of saying that heavy people are generally light on their feet. Are you light on your feet?
I was light up until the last 30 pounds.
We'll be back to this last 250 pounds right after these words. Well, let's see. We've covered the field.
I stash it away there.
What happened?
I just filed a piece of Kleenex.
All right. We've covered the field of unemployment, typing, modeling,
Acting seriously and acting
and comedy,
and
acting.
stooging.
What about, have you ever been married?
No, that's why I get so much taken off my check. And who'd want me anyway, the way I look? Unless
Well, if you get a few of those $20,000 checks, somebody might want you.
I won't buy it.
No, but they would.
They'd buy it, but I have to be in on the deal. No.
Well, you'd
thank
have
you.
to sign the check.
I'd sign the checks, and what they'd have to do, they wouldn't want to sign the check. Well, anyway,
You've
have
never married?
You have a sponsor, so, no, I never married. The
Why?
one I wanted died in 45. It was a few days before the end of World War II.
The only fella, huh?
The only one. I didn't find another one like him, and I sometimes wonder why he died on that Normandy beach. For what? I'd like, and let's not get started on Vietnam. I could go through the whole Indochina bit with you, too, if you wanted to.
No,
but
I don't
we
think
don't
we
have
better
the time.
do that. Starting with Normandy Beach, we better not do that.
No, well, that's way back.
Maybe you better tell us why you think a woman would make a good president.
Well, I don't think they can be much worse off than they are now. I say women are deadlier, they last longer, they're stronger, they control most of the vote, they control most of the money, and if they can't get that guy over there by his mandarins, we're not worth their guts.
Yeah, but now what would happen, though, if we elected a woman president because of all these sturdy qualities that you say they have, and then the Russians got smart and they put a woman in as premier, and then Mao Zedong, he resigned in favor of some woman, and then the world would get deadlier and rougher, wouldn't it?
Be careful, Mao Zedong is my astral sister or brother. He's on the 25th of December. I'm on the 15th. December was a great month for him. It was the 10th
Did you
of December.
say he's your
He came in
sister
and
or
Shanghai
brother?
Chick went on. Well, brother, I don't know. I didn't get past the Mandarin code. I wouldn't know. But
He's your astral?
As he's in the same thing, you know.
What is this, some kind of a
22nd
kooky thing you do? What is that?
No, our birthdays are in the same cycle.
What cycle?
Well, now, wait a minute. You got from I'm the 15th of December. He's
Are you
the 25th.
an astrologer?
No, I'm a Sagittarian.
Well, you know, I hate to say it because I don't know what's going to happen to me, but my birthday is in your cycle, too.
Wonderful. That's why we're getting on so grandly here.
I wouldn't say that.
Did you know that women have a built-in cabinet? The Speaker of the House, the little woman.
Gee.
Who makes it big in the maternity ward? The Secretary of Labor. And if we had a woman once in labor for 20 years, Frances Perkins. And if there were more women in labor for 20 years, we wouldn't have to worry about overexplosive populations and being pushed off the planet. Who froze it?
I think I'm making a pretty good stooge, don't you?
Well, you don't have to be a stooge, but I say we would get through this
Just
all
let
right
me know
without
when I come in with a straight line.
Well, we don't have a format. I don't have a form, and you don't have a we don't have a format, so we're just
Well,
on
I
our
don't have
own.
a mat, huh? Okay.
Wet Kleenexes at 20 paces.
What do you think about the hippie movement?
The hippie? Well, being very hippie myself, I'm a hippie mother. I think it's all
You mean
right.
a hippie mother? You're not even married.
Well, who has to be married
Well, maybe
today?
all right. I shouldn't have asked that question. Another straight line bit the dust.
What time is it before I get killed here? Well, we have 10 minutes to go. Gird your loins. Gird your loins. No, seriously, I feel that I would have. Now, they wanted to get 50,000 signatures and have me really run. They wanted me to.
They wanted you to run for what?
I'm not a masochist. I was going to run for the door. They wanted me to run for office.
But would you run on the lard ticket?
No, the lard ticket, no, I have better qualifications than that. I'm too big to hide behind the Fifth Amendment.
True.
I have to have a strong platform. And Mr. Pyne. Mr. Pyne.
I know. And I'll tell you something. This floor has been shaking here. I'm wondering how good my platform is. But go on.
And Mr. Pyne, if you think I can't fill the chair, then you need glasses.
Yes, all right.
That killed my last line.
Yeah, I beg
Now
your
we're
pardon.
even.
Well, I didn't know you were doing a routine. You got to tell me when you're doing the routine
But
here.
that's-
from time
but
to
that's the
time.
thing
You
that
sprung
I
a
run.
female comic on me here at the last minute.
No, but I run
You know, I
for
got
it.
a note saying, you know, there's a woman that's very serious, a very serious woman here, and don't joke with her, it says. And
That's why I was laughing when we went on camera.
And it says that she's
no format.
she's in favor of women running for the presidency of the United States and very serious about the whole thing. But I asked you about the hippie movement. Now, you see these kids on the streets and wherever you go in the major cities, you see what they look like and everything. Do you think this represents some kind of a permanent danger, or do you think they'll get over it, or what?
No, I think it's the new evolution. Now, we've gone through evolutions, simple consciousness. Then we grew up to, that was the ape man. Then we grew up to self-consciousness. And now we are in a state of evolution of cosmic consciousness, which would raise us way up high. And there's just a touch of this thing that's about to come. You and I won't see it. It'll be hundreds of years, maybe thousands, who knows.
What is it?
It's an evolution of a higher-minded society. No fear, no hatred, no fighting, no nothing.
You see that all in the hippie movement?
No, well, if you do that, well, no, it's the hippie movement. No, they've got that thing about love and kindness and everything, and that money has become too much of a thing. And they have an idea. They have just
You
a touch
think
of
that
this.
thing they have about love is good? Let
Well,
me
I
tell
mean,
you
it's been
something.
going on a long time before they ever
You know
brought
what
it
they
up.
had to do in
Please,
the
it was covered up.
You know what they had to do in the Big Sur country? They had to send missionary doctors in to beg them to stop making love long enough so they could cure their venereal disease. We'll be back to our guest who wants to be president.
I hope
following
your
these
sponsor
words.
will be back,
Stand
too.
by.
Step down.
Everybody's waving and moving around here. We have some people coming in the dock.
Anybody wants to step into the tub
to,
grill?
would you state your name, sir?
Reuben Weston.
Pull the microphone up, Reuben, a little bit. So
Won't
everybody
bite,
can hear.
will it?
That's it.
And support your tones.
Watch my tone. You speak of all the things that you're capable of doing. You're a typist, you're public relations, you're everything. How about speaking about some of the things that you don't do, some of the vices? What do you do for fun?
What I do for fun?
Yeah.
I don't have that good a memory anymore.
Well, suppose now refresh your memory and ask you a couple of questions.
Well, what do I do, or what did I did? What can I do for fun?
That's bad English. If we're going to use bad English, let me use it. You're supposed to be more cultured than me.
All right, sweetheart.
Yeah, all right,
Carry
let's
on.
go. Don't holler at me, though.
Don't holler on him.
Don't holler. Don't fight.
Don't holler. All right. Do you play pan?
Do I play pan?
You know what pan is?
Well, I did when I was 1 year old.
I see, but you don't pan anymore.
You mean a pan or a
No,
pan?
he means panguini.
I can't hear you.
Panguini. It's a game. It's a card game you play.
is it a penguin?
You gamble. Old ladies
I
gamble.
see you don't play it, so you're all
I'm
right.
just a canasta
You're
woman.
a virtuous woman. You don't play it.
Oh.
All right?
Do they take their clothes off like in strip poker?
No. What?
Now, let's keep the show clean, huh?
Yeah,
All right, now let me ask you another question. A woman for president of this country would be a wonderful thing. We all agree to that, but we know it's impossible. It's all in fun, isn't it?
I think it's pretty impossible, although the women
Well,
are getting sick of
Being
carrying
that you're a
those
woman
babies
and
then
you're in
having
that
them shot when
category,
they're
you're on the
18.
other side of the fence. Did you ever hear the expression, if it takes a woman 21 years to raise her son, how long does it take another woman to make a bum out of him?
Yes, well, he raises other things. He raises, Hades and things like that. You can raise them, but you want them to die in a rice paddy. I think that's an awful waste of time, 9 months in the womb and then up to 18 years and he's dead.
That's
Not
it,
for
huh?
me.
You really believe, honestly, that the woman should run for president?
Well, we can't do any worse than the men, and since the women have to carry the babies that long,
I say.
I mean, we can have a new broom. We can sweep clean.
think
this
you can
whole
get-
house.
Now, wait a
All
minute,
right.
sir. Let me hear from the gentleman behind you. Now, thank you. Would you come forward and give us your name?
Thank you, sir.
Don Dunchak, Joe.
Yes, Don.
What I wanted to ask was something that you had mentioned before about that hippie movement. This is something that's been bothering me the last few months since this Dr. Spock has been so prominent in the news. And I was just curious, wasn't it about 15 or 16 years ago that his book was so popular?
Babies, yeah.
I think longer than that.
Well, I should
Well,
say
of course,
between
it's still
15 and
popular.
20 years. The point I'm trying to
I
make
know
is
what he's
that
gonna
I think
say.
you see the result on the street today, the way the different
You
parents
think
brought
that
those kids up.
You think that can possibly be laid at the door of Dr. Spock?
I personally think so. I do, because of the freewheeling attitude that he had in his book, and it was such a prominent bestseller and all.
Well, I've heard this allegation made before, and it's obviously just a guess that we're all hazarding, if we do hazard that kind of a guess.
Well, I was just curious about your personal opinion on
Well,
it.
I think my opinion is this, that many, many more people read Spock than we're seeing in the hippie movement. And I think that while I don't like Spock, I have to say that in his favor. You see my point?
I see your point, yes. Thank
Okay. Nina Varela, I would like to say this has been one of the most excruciating experiences that I've had on television. Thinking back over the past 16 minutes of this interview, I can't remember one thing.
It's just best we don't.
And I think I'm much better off with that attitude, don't you?
Shall we shake on that?
I would, but I can't let you touch me. Good night, everybody. Straight ahead.